later, but hey, welcome guys. If you are listening on the podcast, Cheryl just asked a fantastic question that we're going to just jump right into today. And that is, and Cheryl, feel free to unmute and continue to join you're in now. But we were talking just before we started recording about charging clients, and I recommended that as an option, if it's a struggle to charge clients, to raise your rate each time someone signs, under kind of a presupposition that if someone signed, you're not charging enough. We can argue that. We're not going to get into that today because I mean something very specific by that. Obviously, like, we want people to sign up for services as a bookkeeper. But Cheryl, can you repeat kind of what you were saying with like the mindset, the struggle that you're having, or just like that you've talked to Megan about before?
Well, I think, like Megan, and she recommended a book, and now, like, let me see, I'm not even finished with the book yet. Hang on, let me trying to go to my Spotify to find it. But one of the topics in the book, it's you're a badass at making money. And so one of the chapters that I've read is that when you have that, like, I have this self-limiting belief about money that's on me, to be like, I'm not worth charging this amount of money. So I have to keep a low price because I'm not worth people paying me that much money. But like she was saying, the inverse of that too is you are putting a limiting belief on them. Like, you're creating one for them to be like, your idea of what you're working towards is not worth like you being able to pay this much money either. So I'm doing it both ways. I'm putting it on myself, and then I'm like, because I have that in my head, I'm putting it on other people too. So.
And just watching your face and like knowing you.
Because I feel bad. Like, I don't want to make people, because I'm like, my whole thing is like, oh, you can follow your dreams. Like, this is like such a brave thing to be, especially like I kind of target like women or like moms who've kind of had this like, oh, I live for other people. I'm like doing everything for everyone else, but I have a dream of what I want to do or accomplish or do these things. And so and I'm like, and I'm like, that's so brave. Like, you're stepping out, you're following your dreams, you're doing what, brings you joy. And then I'm saying that on one side, and then the other side, I'm like, but you can't afford anything. Like, you can only pay cheap prices. I'm like, well, it's awful. So.
The funny thing is, you don't realize this. You just wrote your own sales page.
Right. Well, good. Glad this is being recorded, and I will go back and be like, copy and paste.
No, you really should. And the reason I say this is, like, if we get to a point where we're taking on too many clients, and so say you were niched. Okay, so mompreneurs, say that is truly your niche. I'm not saying that is the niche, or that's really the words you want to use. I don't know that for you.
Right.
But let's say, humor me, your niche is mompreneurs, but it's like the corporate turned mompreneur, because that's who you seem to attract a little bit. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, they have a corporate.
Yeah. Everybody I know, like, wasn't necessarily a stay-at-home mom, but yeah, they worked corporate in some. I have a lot of clients who were actually like CFOs of like big corporations, and it's wild to me because I'm like, hi, why are you coming to me? But it's what it is.
I think you need to pay attention to that, because now, so someone comes to you, they're not ready for that. They're not like your Nordstrom client who's like got this like nice thing happening
yeah.
for her, right? Yeah. Which is really super cool. But you have other clients like that, right? So they're going from corporate to mompreneur. That's your niche.
Right.
I'm not a copywriter, unfortunately. I can brainstorm with you all day long, but it does not come naturally to me on what to say with that.
Neither. That's why I'm like writing this down, because same thing. I don't write well. I feel like I speak well. I can have conversations, and these things come up like while I'm talking, but I can't translate that to like to written word.
If, like, for instance, I came to you 10 years ago when I was a hobbyist entrepreneur trying to start e-commerce space and Etsy, and like, I was learning how to become an entrepreneur. Yeah, I was corporate, but I was too young in expertise. I was too young in my mindset. I was too young in general to like understand. Not that you can't be young. You can be a 20-year-old multimillionaire for sure. Don't let me put that limiting belief. I'm just saying with where I was in my experience, that I didn't have like anyone teaching me what I didn't know. I was absorbing a lot of information. It took me like 10 years to like get it right. So I wouldn't have been your ideal client. I was no one's ideal client right then. Nor was I willing to pay. So for that person, and as the years went on, I was first willing, and think about your own journey, for you and for those listening. We're first willing to typically buy a course or listening to a webinar. We're first willing to get information for free. We're going to get as much free information as possible. That's the hobbyist. That's the hobbyist. That's the person. I don't know what I want. I just want to change my life. I'm ready for a change. Megan is nodding for those of you that can't see her. and in her journey, like you guys know her story, I think. Megan, if you want to chime in, feel free. But I know it's definitely true for me. Courses first, webinars first, as much free information as I could consume on YouTube, podcasts, etc. before I purchase someone's. Please help me. Please help me coaching. The first thing I did was I had a CFO come in and help me. He couldn't help me on how to do, how to click the buttons, how to do the service, how to help me when I was feeling very insecure. So then I had to go find that, but it helped me troubleshoot what I needed. The whole point in me walking you through that, Cheryl, is your ideal client is the corporate individual. That individual, think about what they have. They know some accounting, or they know the words of accounting. So they're coming to you and saying, hey, Cheryl, I don't know what needs to happen, but I need to see this, this, and this. These are the words my accountants have used in the past. Please make that happen for me. They're like, I don't really understand how an AR aging is generated, but I need one. Please show me one. So if you're catering to that individual who's a step ahead, they have a business idea. All they have to do is just step into it, and they're going to make money because that's where they're at. And I don't know, correct me if that's like not your person, if they're like really struggling to get their business off the ground. It just feels like when I talk to you, your business owners, they already see the business plan. It's just executing and getting it to take off.
I mean, their business plan is like so crazy detailed. Like my one client, she was like, well, whenever I have a corporate office, like we're going to have baby goats as like in the thing. She was like, we're going to have a person who like she has like a whole thing of like the front desk person is going to be responsible for, she's going to oversee the goat keepers who are going to be like there for our employees for like de-stressing. So like she is like, that's how detailed like her business plan is like, I have to get to this amount of money so I can have a corporate office. And that she's like, mine is going to be the office in the corner that overlooks the fields where the goats are. And the, like it's so detailed. But yeah. So yeah, they know what they want.
That's a different person than the mompreneur just starting out with a hobby of, I really just want to change my life. So your offerings are different.
Right.
Are you trying to cater to both? You're robbing the focus from, in essence, the corporate turned mompreneur from the information they need. They want more information. And you know this because you're often encountering scope creep, where they're needing you. They're needing your face. They're needing information. They're needing you to explain stuff. They're needing you to jump in more, which is a higher level service. So you could charge more for that. But you could also position yourself to still serve the hobbyist mompreneur through a course and say, hey, my rate starts at $1,500. I get that you might not be there yet. I have this for you though, because I believe in you. You're worth it. You're worth a good service. So here's what you do to get that good service.
That's so wild, because I just had that conversation with my husband last night about.
But do you see how I pulled that back? Yeah. Like from earlier, your conversation, they're worth it because they're worth it and because you're worth it.
Right.
Let's change the services we're offering to fit the people we're serving instead of trying to serve everyone. Let's acknowledge that we can't serve everyone. Serve your corporate people better. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go back to school. I think one of them asked you to go back to school or whatever.
I know. Yeah. Cause she's still on the hard press to be like, go back to school. And I'm like, no, it's awful.
Yeah. Now, but keep in mind her perspective. The reason she's probably dealt with a ton of auditors. And one of the audit points we might give is your person is making mistakes because they don't have a background in accounting. This is an audit risk. This is an accuracy risk. And this is could be a fraud risk.
Well, and like from her perspective, she wants me to grow and be the person in charge. And I don't want that. Like, I don't hire a CFO and put them over me. Absolutely. I don't want, like, I'm not doing this so I can run a giant company. Like, that's not, I love corporate for that reason. But
and so then you cap your service, right? So you're serving this person to this person and handing off to this person.
Right.
And that's part of that marketing message that we kind of like, you have it, you have it, but you have a cutoff. You're not serving these people below it, and you're not serving these people above it. And I'm using my hands because you can see me, but
yeah, it's just, it's all on, like, I know it's like, and I know like you sense that too, because you're like, you are worth doing this. Like, you need to charge for this. Like, it's self-limiting beliefs that I'm putting on myself that I have to figure out how, like, I know why they're there and I know they're there. It's everything in life. It's fear. It's fear of being like, no, like, this is how much you're going to pay me. And this is why you're going to pay me this. It's just doing that, because, you run that risk of them being like, actually, I'm not going to pay you. And bye. Like, can I have my books now? And I'm going somewhere else.
So there's a couple of things that happen with it. One, you have to believe you're worth it in terms of the value that you're offering. But there's also the side of it of the way you present it. So the story your company then starts to build. So this is your brand. And it's almost you as a personal brand. So that you still are a person within your brand, especially because you're so involved in your business. And I don't hear you saying that you want a business apart from you, like to run without you. If so,
no, like, I mean, I see eventually I may have to hire like a contractor or two, but I want to be the face of my business. I want to be the person interacting with like the business owners. I don't want to hand that part off of it. I just need a little help doing the actual work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's where like the story you tell, your face, your brand, your personality starts to shine through. So for me, one of the phrases I use in my brand when I'm talking, and it's like a brand phrase that I use in my business is, I'm not going to nickel and dime them. So here's the cost. This is what we based it on, but it's a range. It's 101 transactions to 200. If you hit 201 transactions, that might not mean you go up. Right? Like for 1 month, you hit 201. Normally you're at 150, but you had a crazy month. That might signal to us that you're growing and we're about to change, like increase your prices, but I'm not going to nickel and dime you. My expectation is that they're not going to nickel and dime my time back in terms of expecting me to like, go in reverse of, well, I'm paying you XYZ a month. I expect you to talk to me every day or what, whatever that is. So your brand though is so the way you say it's XYZ, it's now XYZ, or, hey, you're going in another direction. It is time for me to hand you off to that higher level executive that you're looking for that I don't want to be.
Right.
Or it's, hey, you're not quite ready for me to come in and do it. It's not in the best interest of your business growth. This course, this training will get you there. And because I believe in you, you need it.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like a business, like having tiers.
It's having tiers.
Like you're still focused on who your client is, but knowing that there are tier levels.
Yeah, so it is very much a tier level. And you could have tiers within that of here's the service you offer. If you're below that, this is a solution for you. If you're above that, here's how I can support you still. but you need to have my permission to leave me behind.
Right.
I, like turn it into you're giving them permission to leave you behind.
Right.
Because you don't want to go with. That's okay.
Yeah. And I struggle, like I understand, like if I read that in a book, I'm like, I understand that, but it's just like the emotions and the personalities involved in that. Like, I don't know. I think Megan and I talked about, like, when you're raised a people pleaser and like that's your identity, is like you are there to make people's lives easier and to keep them happy, and like that's like your identity as a person. Like, because we've talked about like scope creep is happening like left and right. I can't even like catch it all. It's like happening so fast. And so recognizing that that's what it is, and knowing, like, because I think you have to recognize it at the outset to be able to shut it down right away, to be like, oh yeah, I can definitely see how, this needs to happen, but unfortunately that's out of my scope. I can do it for XYZ. So I feel like if I don't, since I'm struggling so hard with these boundaries and recognizing that, if I don't catch it right at the outset where I'm like, oh yeah, like no problem, and then it's almost like I have to go back and be like, oh, I know I said, oh yeah, no problem, but now it's like, it is a problem.
So you can do a couple of things. Recognizing it is the first like step to implementing change for it. One of the changes you can do is set up systems to, and I see Megan unmuted, but set up systems to avoid it, to prevent it to begin with, because you know that that's like your downside. And I have like two other thoughts with this, but I'm going to pause for Megan. But like, are there systems you can set up in place to prevent scope creep from happening?
All I was going to say was, Cheryl, I remember the conversation that we had, and that's probably been a month ago or whatever. And just hearing you talk right now, I can see a difference, because you are starting to recognize some of those things, and like just the things you're saying. So you're definitely moving in the right direction, for sure.
Yeah, like I recognize it. I haven't leapt over the hurdle of, hey, this is happening and you need to pay me for it. Like,
right.
Yeah, I'm at the hurdle right now and I see the hurdle in front of me. I just haven't leapt over it yet.
Right. So. And, just like you said a while ago, it's recognizing it is one of the first biggest steps, and I mean, it's a process, and it can get so frustrating when you're dealing with mindset stuff, because you want to fix it and you want to do it right and you want everything to go the way you want it to go now. But it's a process, and figuring out exactly what things are causing it and all the things that go along with it. So.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So systems. The other thing I wanted to kind of continue talking about is this, because I think sometimes fear is mistaken for imposter syndrome. We start to feel like imposter, right? Like we hear that phrase. So if you're dealing with that, this is an example of that. I'm not saying that Cheryl has imposter syndrome, but like this is part of how it starts to manifest itself, if you were, to use that word a little loosely. But one thing I recognized, and I recognized this again yesterday, if you were in like the success plan back in the summer, I told you guys that there was one morning I woke up, so over the summer, like I woke up that morning and realized I had been procrastinating on something or like wrestling with something, simply in the fear that it might work. Then I encountered that again this week, and I can hear it kind of in you, Cheryl, too. Cynthia says awareness is great. And then Sue says knowing something intellectually and knowing something is like in your bones is such a real difference. Absolutely. That is really true, because like, how do you step into that? And it can be really scary, because now, Cheryl, you're faced with, and this is where I'm kind of bringing up the imposter syndrome, but it's not the full story. That is it's a word to describe only a part of what you're dealing with. Because now you're faced with, oh crap, I have to do something about this. Right? It's, oh crap, I have to take action because I recognize this, and now this is really scary and I don't want to do it. Can I just shut the whole business down? Not saying that you want to shut the whole business down, but I'm telling you guys, this is how this goes. Like all the time.
Like I literally, that's what I go to sleep thinking at night. I'm like, I should just like literally I was gonna post in the other group and be like, has anyone just reached out to a CPA and be like, hey, can I just work for you? Like, can I, and that is imposter syndrome. Like, I don't feel like I will ever have enough knowledge, and which that's life, right? Like you never, like there's always something else to learn. But just my mindset is like, well, why should these people pay me? Because I don't know everything like about, like there's always somebody who's more knowledgeable than me or has more degrees than me or has, more and more and more. So that's what I was like, you know what? I just shouldn't do this. I should, um, you know, just go work for somebody else and let them teach me. And then they handle all the responsibility of everything. But
Guys, CPAs don't know everything either.
right.
They don't know how to do e-commerce often. They don't know how to do QuickBooks. They don't know how to handle Stripe. They don't know how to handle Square. They're just like, get me the number. Also, because I've worked with a ton of CPAs in my career, Cynthia says you can do this.
Thank you.
You know how many times they're just standing in the doorways between their offices arguing a gap principle or how to present something on a financial statement? That is their whole job. They are paid to learn and to read the information, to interpret the gap standard, and to execute it. You're paid to do the same thing.
So the irony of this is my husband was a CPA and he's not anymore. Like he's not practicing. And so when I tried to talk to him about stuff, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember anything. I don't want to talk about this. I have zero desire to know this. And so it's just, so that's what I think. I'm like, well, he actually was a CPA and he's like, ugh, no, thank you. Like, I can't even, like, I was showing him an income statement the other day and he was like, okay, what? Let me just get my bearings here. And I was like, oh my God, like, how is this happening?
So, and this is becoming a CPA is a really big deal. So kudos to your husband for doing it. I know so many CPAs who have let their license expire because of lots of different reasons. They don't want to do the public accounting hours. They don't love what they're doing. They did it.
Right. Yeah. He switched complete industries. He has nothing to do with financial industry.
Did you say he switched to lawyer?
No, he's law enforcement now. So yeah.
I'm away from the computer now altogether.
Right. Yeah. He was like, I'm not doing any of this anymore. Yeah.
But a CPA is not a CPA is not a CPA. CPAs do so many different things. Some do business valuations. Some do financial statements, like was my field. Some do taxes. A tax CPA and a financial statement CPA are not the same things. And they don't always know the same things. So you might encounter a tax CPA. So sometimes Merrill in the group, Merrill Taylor, he is really good at what he does. He is my favorite tax preparer ever. However, he doesn't always know the bookkeeping side. He's like, you just need to get it on the books. Like he can't help with like the financial side because I mean, his firm does do bookkeeping, all of those things, but he knows tax law, not how Amazon e-commerce does remit sales tax for you. And here's how to account for it in the books. He knows the journal entry and how to get it on the books, but like he doesn't know what you do. You do it in the most efficient way as a bookkeeper. Like that's what. Cheryl, I would also, just in listening with you, we love books. Sorry, got distracted. But in listening to you, Cheryl, you get really excited about helping your business owner. That starts to tell us two things. One, you probably have your niche and you probably need to own that niche. Two, you need to figure out what they need from you. Is that really bookkeeping? Or is bookkeeping a foundation to offer them more? And then you get into advisory without becoming the executive that one of your clients asked you to become. And then if that's the case, because you have a niche, and niching is the easiest way to get into advisory, because right then, me and Megan were just talking about this today. You have your client saying, hey, I want to pay you for this answer. So all you have to do to show up for advisory is say, here's how to solve that problem. And say, thank you for the money. Like, okay, you might have to say, hey, to do that, it's this package and this is what it looks like. You might have to say that. They might not just hand you the money, but that's effectively what's going on is, hey, please solve this problem for me. And then you have to show up to solve that problem as an advisor, not a bookkeeper. And I think you're going to quickly run into that because you're dealing with people who are used to dealing with employees, but you're showing up as a consultant in that space, which gives you a different air to how you show up for the business because you're coming in. And I really think you probably need to make that shift because you're going to have more and more like of those executives, those corporate women who are looking at you as an employee, a contractor, but like they're looking to use you as an employee to help them reach their goals. You're going to have to present to them you're a consultant, and that means you're going to have to get really good at your boundaries of, oh yeah, this is that package, I'm happy to move you up to it. Let me know and I'll send over the engagement letter. And then do you want to schedule that call next week or the week after?
That's
I know. I know, but
that's scary.
But for the time that you're investing, 3 of those clients paying you $2,500, $3,500, $4,500 a month, or yikes, $5,000 a month. Guys, I have a cool story with that. So $5,000 a month instead of 30 clients paying you 300, that changes your business. That changes the way you show up. And and guys, this Cheryl is in the bookkeeper blueprint and things like that. So I'm just running with it because it's a really good topic for you guys. So I'm using her totally as a just if you're
like, don't be like her. Like, skip this step and you go here. No.
I just think sometimes we get, so yes, if you're just starting out, but I've seen everyone whose names I see on the screen right now you guys aren't like, it's not your first week. So I just want to give you, Megan, shut me up at any point. If you're like, stop talking, they just need to do bookkeeping, just let me know. Like, but I think sometimes bookkeeping can be like a foundational service to a global service we offer clients. And so for those clients who would normally be paying you 300, maybe it's a course, and maybe it's just a mini course. So 2 to 3 hours, you record, here's how to set up QuickBooks, here's how to use it, here's how to work with a CPA. And guys, I'm doing this for a group that is having me come speak next month for bookkeeping purposes. So I am actually throwing this together for them. If you want the outline, let me know and I'll turn it into like a freebie.
Well, because
Megan,
that's what I said,
okay?
like my husband and I just talked about that because I just bid for my town and they want someone to teach QuickBooks 4 times a year to new business owners. It's like my town's economic development.
Oh, cool.
And so I was telling him, and then they want to pay me to meet with them individually afterwards to kind of like walk them through QuickBooks, like one-on-one. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I would like to make a video to give to them to be like, well, then here you have this. But if I do that, then my town owns that property and they have it for free and they can give it away. And I was like, I don't want to do that because maybe I want to sell what I'm creating myself rather than. So it's interesting that you bring that up because that's
I just recreated my packages for it, kind of, which is why like I'm seeing you. I'm like, you could use what I just probably did for myself.
Yeah. So I know every time I talk to you, you're like, I just created that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like following in your footsteps.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You serve a completely different audience. There is no competition in bookkeeping. You are welcome to, me and Megan are open books.
Right. There's enough. I mean, I fully believe in that. Like, there's enough work to go around. Like, there's not a scarcity principle. We don't have to fight for the same people. Like, there are enough businesses in the US that.
And we all make each other stronger. So
like just work together and do our thing. Like,
yeah, you might get into it and you'd be like, you didn't think this one through. Go fix that. So that might be great. But I did. So what I just did, encountering the same issue, because my price starts at $500 a month. The struggle is that eliminates so my audience for years has been really like your 1099 half of my audience is like the 1099 Christian entrepreneur who is starting a business because that's what they believe God has called them to do, so that they can spend more time with their families and spend more time in ministry. That is like a very poor way to like describe my audience, but that is who I attract. And that means those people do anywhere from 25,000, 50,000 a year to 10 million. I can't serve that entire spectrum. And that's the same thing you're dealing with, which is why I'm calling you on it. So that's the same, right? Like I can't serve both of those audiences. And so I had to stop serving the 300 and under client because I couldn't keep up. It was killing me and it was robbing my family of the time with me, which is why we had the conversation last night, because
Right.
and that's hard. Like that's not why I got in business. That's not why Megan got in business. And she's encountered it too. It can be really hard to just feel like you have to say yes. And so back to the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about how do you say no? Well, you can say no by giving them just a different offering. So the packages I set up, man, you guys are getting this really awesome like call. Megan. I should probably stop talking, but so I have a course that's going to be for them. They can purchase it. That's a lower dollar ticket item, pretty much the cost of 1 month of bookkeeping. However you want to package that. That's about what I'm doing. 2 to 3 hours max on that course. That is to get them doing it themselves. And preferably, because you're a QuickBooks Online accountant, you would have your revenue share option that they can sign up through. So maybe you do create a form. I don't know how I'm doing this yet, by the way. My plan is to create a form that they have to fill out. So then I log into my revenue share, set them up, because I no longer want to use the other partner I was working with to set up stuff. I have originally just given them a link. They go sign up with the partner sets them up. I get revenue share and I get a portion of their payments. I'm going to miss that part. However, I did the math. If they sign up for like essentials, it's like $200 a year that you'll get the first year. So you'll get an extra $200. So whatever you charge, if they also sign up for QuickBooks, you're getting $200. So even if you gave the course away for free, the goal would be to get that $200 from revenue share. So they don't have to pay for it. I'm going to charge for it is what I decided. But so just keep that in mind. You can either make more money off of it or charge less, knowing that you're going to make it through them signing up. And so for me, it's like, I just want to bless them with it for my audience, knowing that if they sign up for QuickBooks, I'm going to get payment through that. Two, knowing that once they get big enough, then they're going to be ready for me and I'll be their go-to. So building that trust. Second level is I do two. You won't have both of these because I do tax strategy as well. So one of the options in that second tier framework is QuickBooks setup. So this would be you setting them up that hour. I'm doing 3 calls, like an intro call, setup call, exit call. 30-minute calls. I'm not doing an hour. I'm giving you guys way too much information. I hope this is helpful to someone. And I'm just going to plug, if this is helpful, let me know in the comments below so I know more of the trainings to get to you guys. Okay. So QuickBooks setup, call, or QuickBooks diagnostic. So if they're new to QuickBooks, it's a setup. If they're in QuickBooks, it's a diagnostic. That's the same program with 3 calls. So that's the service offering. And I'm doing this specifically because of recognizing who keeps asking me to show up to speak, who keeps asking for help, who's recommending my name. That's the audience I'm going to kind of continue to step into, because I do like showing up. I like speaking. I like showing up and doing workshops. And I do one about once a quarter. So I love that. And I think, that's a lot. And as you do that, like make sure the media knows. A couple months ago, we did the beginning of January. We had the media expert, Michelle, come on. Michelle Rupp. She gave like a media press release, how to do that. So every time you speak, even if you just do a press release on your website, that's going to start giving you credibility. So this is totally different marketing, different angle than what it feels like we're always talking about, Facebook marketing, stuff like that. This is kind of taking your business to the next level, if you were. So that's one offering. And then I do tax prep, tax planning. So in that one, it's tax planning, where I will do a tax plan for them and give them, here's what it would look like if you became an S corp. Here's what it would look like if you put your vehicle on the books as you were. Is there anything else you're missing except a 401k? How do we do this? If you want to pay your kids, that's why. Well, anyway, I won't tell you. That doesn't matter. I digress. Too much information. I will give it all away for free. We know that. So then we have the bookkeeping side of things, where it's actually doing the bookkeeping. And there would be people I turn away from that because they want, as Megan said, an in-house bookkeeper. And I don't want to do that, right? Like, so then if they don't fit any of those offerings, they're not for that service that we provide. Maybe they're a bookkeeper like you guys, and they're coming to the Bookkeeper Blueprint. Maybe they're following me on YouTube and they're actually interested in learning the Bible. So I have like a mini Bible course for them, like Bible Breakthrough, and they can read the Bible through in 90 days or whatever. That's something different. Like, that's a product arm, but it's because I have 3 things I talk about. If you see me on social or see me in real life, like, there's 3 things I talk about. And so for me, just to give you an example, because I'm a person outside of bookkeeping. So are you. So are you guys. For me, that person is, well, I'm a mom, but I'm also a Christian. And I think you can't show up for a biblical based business. So not biblical based, but like, if you want to run a business based on biblical principles, you can't do that if you don't read the Bible. Like, if you don't know what the Bible says, you can't do that. You don't know the principles. So for me, I'm directing them to, let's read the Bible through 90 days. Like, because I think a lot of people read through it too slowly, so they don't really understand it. They don't get it. So there's that resource. From there, you should be teaching your kids biblical principles based on teach your kid, like, go at the pace of children, which is also why you shouldn't why I shouldn't be working all day long, because my kids go at a different pace. They need naps, they need snacks, they need other interruptions. So I have to pace my business to them. It's in Exodus where the two brothers, I literally just reread the story. What is this? Isaac? Nope. And brother Jacob and his brother. Anyway, embarrassing myself. Those 2 brothers, the twins anyway. Okay, it's in Genesis. Thank you, Esau. Thank you. Appreciate that, Cynthia. So okay. So anyway, when Jacob's coming back, he's meeting Esau. He says, "Hey, Esau, go ahead of me. Take this as a gift. Take these herds, take these flocks. Please go ahead of me. I've got women and children following me. I'm going to go at their pace." And that phrase just has rung true for me for years. I think I read that again when my youngest she was still a baby, and like, maybe it just started walking. Maybe we just had the second one. And I realized, at the pace of children, like, that's how my life operates. And I need to run my business that way. So anyway, you can read the Bible with me, teach your kids with me, but that is a small, like, I don't coach you on that. I don't do that with you. It's just a resource. Dive in with me through there. I have my bookkeeping business. So if you're wanting to grow a business, you can use that to grow your business so that you have more time with your family doing Christian business things. If you want to become a bookkeeper, because it's one of those, I used to, like, I told Kyle when I left corporate, I didn't want to do month end ever again. I was so fed up with month end. You're always closing something. It's always the same thing. And the problems repeat itself over and over again. Because if you didn't take care of it last month, that you're taking care of it next month, or it's going to bite you in 6 months. You have to eventually take care of it. Megan's smiling. There's always something, always something.
Did you get away from that?
No. And here's
I
what I was
know,
going to
that's
say
why I
on
was
that.
laughing.
Oh, no, I didn't get away from that. And what I was going to say there is sometimes I think God calls us to do something, even if we don't want to do it. And I was listening to a video maybe a month ago. I absorb a lot of information, and I turned to Kyle in this video. This guy is like, literally, you've got your passion, but you also have whatever God is calling you to like provide for your family. And I had this knee-jerk reaction, and Kyle looked at me like it was, but I don't want to. There are some days where, like, I really for years have not wanted to do it. And this goes back to imposter syndrome in a sense. Like, I am very confident that I can get the books done. I'm very confident that we can find the answer, or I can ask Megan a question, or whatever, we can get whatever bizarro thing the client has done taken care of. Sometimes clients, Megan, you encountered someone with a bizarro thing yesterday for one of the students. Like, it's just, wait, student had to pause on it. Like, this isn't, like, I could never record a video ahead of you guys to address some things clients do. It's just what they do. But journal entries, for instance, are a language. And because we know how to speak the language, we can tell the bookkeeping what to do. But we have to understand what happened. And that's what you guys are learning as you go, right? It's how to interpret, how to execute those things. So all of that to say, like, sometimes I think bookkeeping is like a means to an end, but it's the fundamentals of running a business. The fact that you know how to do it, and so Cheryl, back to you, the fact that you know how to do that might mean you get to level up the service that you're offering to your clients. Because you know how to do the basics, you know how to say, hey, or like the person I was talking to on Monday, he has a niche, and they commonly, that niche needs a very specific reconciliation done. Not a lawyer. But if you were lawyers, Sue's your lawyer. Don't you do a lot of lawyers, Sue's? Is that not you? I'm just kidding. Anyway. So like if you did lawyers, they always need IOTA reconciliations. This person, all of his insurance agents, so you guys probably know who I'm talking about now, need a very specific reconciliation done. But you wouldn't be opposed. Mora has lawyer clients. They're fun. So if you guys do, if you're listening, you have lawyer clients, we have a couple of coaches that do them. And Sue's, go talk to them if you're like, yeah, that they're fun, but they're needy. And so because he knows that they need this specific reconciliation done that sometimes like bookkeepers aren't going to lead with, I don't even offer that as a service because it's an add-on service. I don't even offer that level of service for them. He can tweak his entire offering around that additional report that they need to run their business well. That is advisory for his clients. And that's how he can tweak his service to not look like, if your website looks like every other bookkeeper's and it's 300, 500, 550, you might not yet be offering a unique service offering. Now, I say that Megan still has like a very basic bookkeeping website. So do I, technically, where she's offering basic bookkeeping. She has not, Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, been called to do more than quote unquote like basic bookkeeping. And that's giving you, like, you're living an incredible life right now. Like, you're traveling with your daughter, you've got all the quote unquote, I'm speaking for you. Like, if someone were to look at you, you have freedom, you have time flexibility, you get to say no to the work that you don't want.
Yep.
And you get to write how your day looks. That sounds like a great situation to me. But I just wanted to say, like, if you're like, how do I do this? Like, I'm feeling unsure. Know that there's more ways to be unsure. Like, and every time you get to like I'm sure of this, you're going to wake up like me this week and realize you're arguing with your spouse because it's actually your fault and you're just unsure that you should be doing something. I know lawyers make good money after the custody. Oh, I know, right? So like so Sue's just pointed out, like, if you pick up the phone to call a lawyer, you're getting an invoice and you're going to pay it. You're not going to argue, you just pay it. But for some reason, we think that we can't do that. Susan's like, I want to argue. But like, the dentist gives me a bill. Like, I walked out of the dentist office, here's my card. $500 later, I'm just going to pay the dentist, and I'm going to pay him as many times as he tells me I need to pay him, because I want my teeth, or my daughter's teeth. Like, we're working on kids' teeth right now, but I want them to have happy, healthy mouths. So I'm going to keep paying the dentist, and he makes good money. I don't argue. He goes, hey, here's what it's going to be. Oh, hey, by the way, we had to do something else. So here's the fee. And they make, like, so yesterday I went to the dentist and he was like, here's what we estimate today's bill is going to be. Sign here that you acknowledge it. Meanwhile, so I'm signing here, and the receptionist saying, but if he has to do something else, that might change. What did I sign this for? So don't feel bad. And I think we have to pay attention. And so I'm going to challenge all of you to watch other people charge you money. How do they do it? What words do they use? And how do you respond to it? If you're interacting with someone physically charging you money, often our bills are on auto pay. And if you don't know, practice getting quotes on stuff, random stuff, silly stuff. Like, can you come refinish my bathtub? Get a quote. Can you fix my air conditioner? Get a quote. Practice it. I'm not saying you have to like actually do all the services. So I wouldn't waste your time. Like, don't waste everyone's time, but like, I would practice getting multiple quotes if you go to spend some money, so that you can hear how people are giving you money estimates. Okay. And we are way out of time. I tangented because Cheryl positioned a really good topic. So I didn't even show you guys, like Danny said, no, it was someone else. Sorry. I had 3 discovery calls in the last 2 weeks. Guys, it's still, if you're marketing, it's still here. So yeah, next week, guys, if you have topics or questions or want us to continue something from today, post it in the group, let us know, or add it to the chat. We'll see the chat too. And we can continue if you guys want us to continue discussing something, but we are here for your success. I believe in all of you. And all of you guys that are on, I don't know where you feel like you are on the success scale, like you're succeeding, you're doing this, or you feel like you're failing. There is something, because I see all of your names really consistently. There is something about being consistent for several years that yields really, really, really cool rewards. So if it feels hard right now, I promise, keep going. Lean on us, get on. Megan loves doing mindset calls. So if you are stuck, not to say that I don't love doing mindset calls. I love doing mindset calls, but she, that really, really excites her. She really, really loves it. a lot of the coaches love talking about goals. I love talking about goals. If we can help you guys continue to hold in there and position yourself for that success, let us do that with you. Because I think sometimes it's positioning yourself to say, yes, I'll take your money. That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for the tangent today. It was fun.
Well, thank you. I didn't mean to like take over everything, but I really appreciate it. Like, it's like I'm wrestling with it, and it's just one of those things. Like, what is it they say? Like, the first time you hear something, you're just like, whatever, and like you just have to keep hearing it over and over and over again before you're like, fine, I'll do it. so
And you're gonna start doing it, and there's gonna be something comes up to it to like halt it. Whether it's gonna be you, or it's gonna be a tech issue, or it's going to be a client issue, there's going to be something that comes up to halt it. It happens every time. Ask Megan.
So I just need to hear it, and I just need to hear it from every direction before I'm like, okay, like I'll do it. So
and you might start doing it and then realize, okay, that's going to require this of me, and you're not going to want to do that other thing. And so you're going to have to push through that. Like there's layers to this.
Right.
So keep going, give yourself grace. That is part of being an entrepreneur. It is a fun, sometimes really crabby map we're on.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs. So that's for sure. Right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm glad it was helpful. Getting some good comments back. If you guys want to continue the conversation next week, just let us know where to take it. If not, we will continue marketing, and we can continue marketing goals. Like, are your marketing goals realistic next week? Which is what we're going to talk about today. Like, because I think sometimes, just to preface that, we think that if we talk to 100 people, we're going to have 30 people sign up. Cameron Montgomery says 1 + 1 does not equal 2 in the world of marketing. And we wanted to kind of lean into that next week and talk about, do we have realistic marketing expectations or like result expectations for the level of marketing that we're doing? So cool. Yeah. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.